What's up, you guys? Welcome to the channel. My name is Torrence, and in today's video, we are celebrating one of my favorite holidays, Halloween. Colourpop has done another collab. As we know, they are a brand that are constantly pushing out products, but when they said they were doing a Hocus Pocus collab, baby girl, you know I had to get it. I absolutely love Halloween. It is my favorite holiday of the year. Hocus Pocus? Look at this packaging, honey. Like, there was no way I was going to let it go through without me getting it. But in this video today, I am also testing out a powder behind the scenes. I am someone who just truly did not want to put in the energy and effort into doing an entire video just to show off a powder. As of lately, I haven't heard anything about any powders coming out that are just so revolutionary that I think they need a dedicated video. But I also want to make sure I'm updating and testing out new things for you all. So behind the scenes, I am going to be testing out the Laura Mercier translucent powder. I'll go into further details later in on the video about why I'm testing this one out. But if you all really like this look, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And make sure you're also subscribed to the channel because I'm trying to see how high we can get before the end of the year. We've already passed the 200 mark, which I didn't think was coming so fast. So I truly want to say thank you to any and everyone who supports the channel. But if you would like to see the tutorial on how I achieved this eye look, just make sure you continue to watch. And I wanted to talk to you all a little bit because although I know this is supposed to be a first impressions for the Hocus Pocus palette, I am someone who's always trying to improve my makeup game. I'm always testing out different products in my collection. And I realized one of my favorite categories to test out, but one of the ones I have been neglecting lately, is powders. I recently went through my collection and found a ton of powders that I either A, have never tried, or B, have not used in a while. And I realized A, I need to start rotating some of those powders, or B, just getting rid of them. And one of those powders that I remember testing out was this here. The Laura Mercier Translucent Loose Setting Powder. As you all know, I absolutely love loose setting powders. The thing is, as someone who was a self-taught makeup artist, I never had anyone to sit down and say, this works, this doesn't work, this will work on your skin tone, this formula is better than that one, or things like that. And of course, that was of my own choosing. But whenever I used to test out baking powders, I would take and put a concealer underneath my eye, blend that out, and then set down the baking powder, and then I would do a flash test in a dark room. The problem with that test is no one told me I had to dust off the setting powder. So of course, almost every single powder I used at the time failed the test. Ended up using the colorless one and saying screw them all. And unfortunately, this powder was one of those powders that failed that test, but it never stood a chance of passing. And so when I bought this, I just put it to the side, never used it again. They then came out with the medium deep powder, which of course is absolutely too dark for me to do anything with but set my contoured areas. Anything else is going to deepen up my complexion and change up the color that I have for the foundation. And I realized I bought the Translucent Honey, which is their newest color, and I still haven't tried it out yet. So before I decided to either A, start using the honey, which I honestly, after looking at the color, I think is a little dark, and looking at the translucent, which I think is a little light, I'm going to go ahead, test out the translucent in this video. In my next video, I'm going to test out the honey. And after looking at my complexion with those two powders, I'll decide if I either A, just want to ditch them both, or if B, if I have to go ahead and mix them just to get my own color. Because I have this miniature and I'm deciding on whether I want to get the new holiday set. They have a set where if you buy the full size powder, it comes with a different cap as well as a free powder puff. And because I like that powder puff, I would rather go ahead and get it free than to have to pay for it. Gonna go ahead and test these out and see if it's worth it. But our main focus of today's video, of course, the Disney Hocus Pocus movie. Celebrating Halloween, my favorite holiday. We have the Gather Round Sisters palette. Tell you, honey, I was recording a video for you all, got to the store late, and this was the very last one. When I seen it was the last one, I took off running from a distance. I knew for sure I did not want to order it online and risk waiting on it, risk getting a broken one. I had to get this from my local Ulta. As you can see on the back, we have 15 shades, and the fact that this is a black and gold packaging has me like, I am loving it. And they even went as far as to have a design on the inside of the box, so I'm really enjoying that. Like, they went all out for the details of the packaging of this palette. This is what the front of the palette looks like. It's absolutely beautiful. Probably my favorite packaging by Colourpop so far. The fact that it has the designs here that are raised and the color shifts. The fact that you have the spider here with the web. It's like, come on, honey. How can you not like it? And I'm really enjoying the fact that they took the same design on the back of the box and put that right here on the back of the packaging for the shade names. It's just like, come on, Colourpop. Y'all really went out for this. And I am just hoping that this formula is just as good as all their other palettes. I've never had a dud palette from Colourpop, but word on the curb is that Sailor Moon palette was not the formula we was all expecting, so I went ahead and skipped that. And on the inside, honey, we have a nice, colorful story here. Of course, you see your shades where you can go neutral, but today, Halloween, Hocus Pocus, not going to be the case, honey. I promise you, we are going to be playing with some of these colors. But if you all would like to see me create a neutral look using this palette in a future video, just go ahead and leave me a comment down below. And although I'm going to keep these shades like this for this video, I promise you after I turn this camera off, I'm going to be arranging everything and putting them in the layout that I personally prefer, because I've done that with all of my Colourpop palettes. But to keep this simple, I'm going to go ahead and just call them off the way that they are here. And before we get into this tutorial, I'm going to go ahead and give you a close-up of this palette. As with all other tutorials, I'm going to leave all brushes and tools in the description bar below. But we're going to start things off with my Wayne Goss number 16 brush in this shade here, Hello Salem, and the inner half of my crease. Okay, and what we're going to do is use this as a transition shade on the inner half. We're going to go in with something else for the outer half. And I want to take and go ahead and build this up. Move this up as high into the crease as we can possibly get it. So far the pigmentation is looking nice. The blend is coming through. There is a lot of kick up in the palette. Kick up usually doesn't bother me because I'm going to go in and pick that up anyway for the next eye. Bring it down. Grab a tiny bit more. Make sure that's blended all the way down here. We want this to be a dramatic look today. And now I'm just going to do that on the other side. For the outer half of my crease, I'm going to use that same brush and go in with this shade here on Toast. Okay, and since we had a nice beautiful blend on this shade, we are hoping for the same. Pigmentation comes straight through. Gonna go straight down here first. Blend that up to diffuse the edges. It seems like Colourpop did not disappoint so far. That's what I'm talking about. We'd rather just pay a little extra for a collab and they get lower quality, honey. Everybody like going in already knowing what that formula gonna be like. You just gotta make sure you diffuse the edges really well. Nice and rounded. Okay, I'm liking that. Let's go ahead and hit up the other side. to go a little deeper on this and whoops. Now that I have my transition shades on, I'm going to take my Wayne Goss number 17 brush and apply my crease shades. For the inner half, we're going to use this first shade here, Night of Frolic. And for the outer half, we're going to use this shade, Bewitched. Alright, now this is where the palette's going to show its worth. Okay, not quite as kick up in Night of Frolic, but usually those shades tend to be a little drier and a little harder to pick up. But we're going to hope that it's not harder to blend. Gonna go in and see. Okay, we getting pigmentation off bad. Baby, she came through like a fighter. Alrighty, alrighty. I see you not playing with us. But yeah, we have no issues with Night of Frolic. That palette, that color came straight through on you. We're just going to buff that up as high as this brush will take it, knowing we still have some of that transition shade peeking through. I don't even think I need to go in with a second layer for that. But y'all can see that from here. Just want to make sure it come all the way over to the halfway point. Yeah, see, I don't even need a second layer. Let's go ahead and hit that other side up. Normally I would just load up my brush, but because I just took that pigment shade off, I've loaded this one up and tapped off as much as possible just to see what the color is going to come out like first. Okay, she still didn't come to play. And I was able to, hopefully, looks like I was able to get that red off because this was coming off as truly as a green. It's a very dark grungy green. So we're going to want to buff and build up slowly. Make sure you have your crease blended out before you go through. Start trying to get that transition going. Then I'm also going to cover my outer V. Going to have to dip again for that part. Once I feel that most of the color has been removed from my brush, I just go ahead and use that to buff up into the crease. Okay, we're going to go to the other side. And I must tell you, truly appreciating the fact that Colourpop gave us the quality in this palette. And just because we want to go over the top, I'm going to take my number 19 brush and use this shade here. I call it a Buzz. This is a matte black with sparkle, but we want to use it just to deepen up our crease the tiniest bit between both sides. I knocked off most product off the brush, so more than likely we won't see most of those sparkles. We just want this to deepen up the very lowest part of the crease. Use that to buff up once you have that pigmentation there. Use that to really diffuse that color up. I'm going to do that on the other side. Now that we have our matte shades down, I'm going to go in with my NYX Glitter Primer and my Morphe M421 brush here. I'm going to use this brush to cut my crease and cover my lids. And you know we couldn't hide a day. There's just no way to avoid it. And actually, let me grab me a little bit more. because I want to cut ahead of my crease today. Let me go ahead and swoop that in front. Make some of that outer V out. That's rude. Hit this other side. For the inner half of my lids, I want to go in with this shade, Tis Firm. For the outer half of my lids, I want to go in with this shade here, Yellows. Almost forgot, before we go in with our lid shades, we want to fill up that outer V. Gonna start off with that Wayne Goss number 17 brush. Make sure that outer V is covered. Like I want it pitch black. And the very edges of that glitter adhesive is gonna pick up on some of that. And that's what we're gonna use to feather it over just a bit. Do that on both sides first. Okay. For our first shade, just want to press it down first. And she goes on like a champ. Only wanted to go up to that halfway point. Let's see if we can go in with a second layer, and if she falls, even better. And yep, it layers. Okay. Go ahead up the other side now. Alright, now we're going to go in and fill up the outer V with that green shade. You all know I love greens. Now we're going to have to morph that together. Had us looking like a duochrome. And let's see if she gonna build up and layer, honey. Yeah, she does. Use that metal. Don't cover up the edge of the outer V. Hit it up on the other side. Now that I'm satisfied with what we have going on the lids, what I'm going to go ahead and do is cut away, finish off my face the way I normally would, but instead of using my normal powder, I'm going to use the Laura Mercier translucent powder, and we'll be back to show you all how we're going to finish off the eyes. Hey, yes, honey. You talk about stepping out of the box? Girl, let me tell you, y'all already know I am not the biggest fan of lashes, but because this look was turning out so pretty, because I mean, that looks almost like a duochrome, even though we only have two colors on the lids. So I went in with my Ardell double wispies. My demi wispies are my absolute favorite. They were my #1 used lashes when I was freelancing. And so I have several pairs of these just sitting around. So I decided today a big pair of lashes is not going to compete with this eye look. So we have that here. And you already know my favorite eyeliners are the Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On Eye Pencils. Have this here in the shade Overdrive. It's a dark green. I just wanted to put something there without going in with black. Although you may not be able to see that here on camera, in person, you can really tell that it's a really dark green color. But we're going to accentuate that later with the dark green color on the lower lash line. For blush, I wanted to try to stick to as much Colourpop as possible, so we're wearing this Super Shock Cheek color in the shade Between the Sheets. Although this is a nice color, I personally prefer a more pigmented color, especially with this being a cream blush. But for today's look, it actually helps because I didn't want anything that's so loud it competes with the eyes or the lips. And the lips are also Colourpop. That's something that you can see. an ultra metallic lip. Honey, I ain't never tried one of these before, but honestly, she really cute. Most people that I hear talk about metallic lipsticks be like, you know, no, I don't want them, keep them away from me. But this is like the perfect hybrid between a gloss and a lipstick to me, without it being, you know, as firm and stiff as a lipstick or as thin and slippery as a gloss. But I only own 2 lip colors from Colourpop. The first is the Ultra Glossy Lip in the shade Champagne Mommy. I've used this in a previous tutorial, so I wanted to go ahead and skip that this time and use the Ultra Metallic Lip in the shade Mic Check. Honey, mic check, 1 2 1 2. Look at those lips, honey. I am loving it. I would have to definitely see what this formula is like in different shades, so I'm actually glad they sent this for free because I probably never would have purchased it. And as you can see with the skin, baby, I don't know what happened. Well, yes, we do. I don't know what took me so long to go ahead and try Laura Mercier again, because I absolutely love their powder products. I use their Candle Glow Sheer Perfecting Powder to finish off my makeup in every tutorial. So I knew they had wonderful powders. It's just I had never tested this out, and now I'm here to let you all know. I understand the hype. And for me personally, this shade may come off as a little bit lighter than what I wanted to on the skin, but I can definitely make it work. So in my next tutorial, when I test out that honey powder, more than likely that's going to come off a little darker than what I want. So I'm just going to go ahead and mix the two. But I truly believe on a regular day, I can use just this powder and get away with it. But because I have this full size, I'm definitely going to be mixing them just to get rid of this powder here. And just to make sure we give our eyes a little more glam, I want to go back in with this shade here, Bewitched, and smoke out my lower lash line. It's going to help accentuate that green eyeliner that we're wearing. And because we want this really blown out, I'm going to go in with my MAC 219 brush. I'm going to load our brush up and start on the outer corner and just buff him on and out. And although I am truly loving that this is a dark grungy green color, I wish they would have given us just one more shade that was a little lighter. One more shade that was a little lighter and a little brighter, where you can truly tell this is a green and not a smoked out black. From a distance, I'm not sure many people will be able to tell it's green without seeing that green eyeshadow on the lid. Bam! Go ahead and do the other side. Okay, and because I just had to fetch that one eyelash out, we're gonna go ahead, catch our tears in the corners of our eyes. Baby, and time to keep it going. For our last 2 steps, we want to highlight our inner corner and our brows. I'm going to start off highlighting my brows with this shade here, Wench, just because it's a nice neutral shade here. But we're going to go glam and go a little extra. And for our inner corner highlight, we're going to go in with this shade here, Thatchery Binks. And Colourpop tends to have pigmented shadows, so we're going to go in very lightly. And if need be, we can always build up. Yeah, see, that's enough of just this side. Want just enough to create a glow on the lids. Whoop. Might have went in a little ham on this side. Add a little bit back over here. They won't know the difference. Okay, just enough to bring a glow. And then for the inner corner, we really want to be loud. So we're going to take and put this purple right there. Yeah. And just because of how deep this purple is, I might go back in and add a little bit of that Wench shade just to help brighten it a tiny bit. Because to me, in person, That color's nice, but I think I do want to lighten her a tiny, tiny bit. Okay, yeah. Still a little pop of light there, but it's still a nice dark grungy look. Alright, now it seems like all we have to do is set the face. Fix Plus to add a glowy dew. All-nighter so it'll last all day. Gonna give this a few more seconds to dry and I'll be back to show you all the final look. And this is the final look. I'm gonna go ahead, give you all a full face view of things before I give you my final thoughts. And honey, Colourpop did not let us down. When I tell you, most brands that we support seem to keep things consistent and everything's good. But whenever a collab comes around or a limited product, it automatically makes you wonder, is the quality still the same? Because honey, I know y'all got to pay a little more to get that collab going and stuff. But if you're gonna charge us a little more, please keep that quality where we know, love, and expect it. And Colourpop did not let us down. Like, just looking at this combo here automatically makes me wonder whether I need to buy that Scarab eyeshadow from Natasha Denona, because I'm like, she a $30 liquid, and although she gonna give me a dual chrome beautiness, I got this from Colourpop for $22. Powder lasts longer than liquid, and this helps celebrate one of my favorite childhood movies. So it's like, I'm glad I got it before she sold out, because baby, when I tell you, during the restock, if you want this palette, please go ahead and get it. The packaging is beautiful, the formula is beautiful, the colors are amazing. So I am absolutely satisfied with this. As a first impressions, I truly recommend 2 thumbs up. Everyone go gets it. Same thing with this Laura Mercier powder, honey. It doesn't look as heavy as my normal powder, but then again, I'm someone who likes the midnight powder because it is like a stage performance powder. It is going to last all day. It is going to hold and lock everything in place. But that's not something that I no longer need on a normal day because I no longer work the same hours that I used to. So I'm always looking to improve my game. And I see me running through this mini and purchasing that new holiday set just to get the free puff to go with it. But before I make my final decision, I do want to test out that honey powder. With these lipsticks, honestly, with as comfortable it's been, I wouldn't mind wearing it every day. I'm not sure what the lasting power is when you eat because I haven't had the chance to do so since doing my makeup. But if in a future video I let you all know that I purchased additional colors, that means I was satisfied with the wear test of that. But I hope you all truly did enjoy today's video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Also, leave me a thumbs up if you all want to see more tutorials from the brand Colourpop because I absolutely love their formula and they are always releasing new products. And if for nothing else, honey, just please leave me a thumbs up for rocking these lashes because baby, y'all know lashes do not do it for me. So to not only put on a pair, but to put on a pair this large, it's like, y'all got me feeling myself as stepping outside of my comfort zone, and I'm always do it for you guys. But with nothing else, I hope you all remember to practice, continue to stay blessed, and until next time, goodbye YouTube.